give a bit of a context on the role of carers, which are informal, they're not formalized form of care, and funded and unfunded at many levels. Could you, before we go on to the funding and the governance side of it, could you talk about broadly in Western Australia the role of carers, and then different types and a bit more information on that?
So the role of caring and carers is not really recognised and valued. A lot of people throw around some big numbers: 320,000 carers in WA, 40,000 young carers, and we're talking about people who give up their lives to care for a loved one. So that is caring for somebody who has a mental health illness or a mental health challenge, drug and alcohol addiction, somebody who lives with disability, somebody who is frail due to age or chronic or terminal illness. That underpins every section of our community, as I've mentioned. And the big numbers we talk about are the 320,000, but also the $78 billion worth of value that we save the Australian economy. If you were to take every hour of work undertaken by an unpaid family carer or a loved one and the work that they do, it's around 2.2 billion hours. Again, it's a big number. But what do these numbers mean? What sits behind that? What's the emotional support? What's the constant care and diligence of looking after somebody else? What does that mean? And it's often the emotional support, it's the physical support, it's being a physio, it's being an OT, it's being a counsellor, it's being a financial controller, it's running a household, it's running somebody else's life. That's what sits behind these numbers, and I don't think many policymakers have got a particularly good concept about what that means. Carers are around 1 in 7, 1 in 8 of our population. So that means any street on any given day there is hundreds of carers who are going about their life, often hidden and often silent. We don't pay that enough credence. We don't know what's happening next door to our neighbours. We don't know what's happening 4 or 5 houses down the street. We need to be aware of that, and we need to be aware of that impact. If carers were to unite, all 3 million of them across Australia, that would be one hell of a political voice and influence, and we could change policy. But carers are so focused on the loved ones and the person they're looking after that they don't worry about themselves, and they certainly don't worry about the political influence that they could wield or how they could change policy.
Probably have you heard that an organised minority can always rule on a disorganised majority. So, ignoring that fact,
I'm wondering if 3 million carers is a disorganised minority, whereas it's probably the largest workforce.
And if that's how what politics is. It's the organisation of ideas, the organisation of people. Same as unions, it's the organisation of people. So as you organise people, policy will happen, and policy drives behaviours, policy drives outcomes, and policy drives good outcomes which you are aiming for the carers. So it's not my interview, but I'll start going back to you.